You the fakest bitch in America. You're not a real person. You're fake as fuck. So since you want to be fake, I'm gonna be fake to you, and I would never, ever, 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 ever speak to you again because you're dead motherfucking wrong.
Hi guys, long time no see. It feels like it really does. I feel like I have not sat down and done a video in forever, and it's only been like 10 days. But yeah, life has been happening. Okay, it has been literally dragging me, stomping my head in the concrete. Like, it has really been a thing, especially right now, because of course the video I decide to come back with, which is going to be like a long video, of course, is when my AC stops working. So if I have like some jump cuts or like things move and change, it's probably because I had to take a break, because I'm not joking, y'all, it is hot in here. There is no air circulating, okay? And I had to turn my fan off because it's one of them big old fans from Walmart, and there was no way to film without it. So I just wanted to throw that out there because I'm already feeling myself. Look, I'm already glistening. I'm already getting that glow, and it's because I'm hot as hell. Okay. Also, I would love to do my membership shout out. It goes to Yvonne. That is all I have on the little username thing that I see. So let me know what your real name is. Y'all let me know what y'all's names are, because I would hate to give y'all a shout out and it'd be like Chicken Lover 95. Like, you know what I mean? Like, let me know what y'all's names are. So yeah, actually do that. If you comment a lot of my videos and your name is not your username, please let me know what your name is, because I would love to know what your actual name is, okay? But I just wanted to give a special shout out to Vaughn for being a part of my membership and just being like overall super cool. You're always commenting on my videos, always commenting on my community tabs, and trust me girl, I see you and I greatly appreciate it. And I greatly appreciate all of y'all that have reached out to me and just asked if I was okay. I'm not okay, but we're pushing through. Life is continuing on, okay? So anywho, let's get into the story time, because I'm already gonna tell y'all this is going to be long and there is going to be a lot of backstory, okay? So if you don't really like that, then I don't know what to tell you, because I have to give y'all the entire rundown of this story. I've said this story like in a faster version on my live, like I've said it on live, but I think this one gives like, well, this what I'm about to do is about to give y'all the whole context. And this is one of my most requested videos, and that is my James story time. So get what you need to get and let's get right on into it. So I talked about James. I mentioned him in my roommate story time. And it's so funny because that roommate story time, like, I get a lot of backlash. Like, a lot of people do not like my version of that story. But it is what it is. Just like that video, I'm just gonna say it from my perspective, my mindset, how I felt in that time, okay? I don't care. I'm just, you know, telling you guys how the story went. Yes, I could have done things differently. Yes, things could have, you know, a lot of things could have been different, and a lot of things could be handled differently and whatnot, but can't take it back now. It's the past. This is a story. So all you analyzers out there can just leave me alone. This is my story. Going back to that story time, I briefly mentioned him and how, you know, he's fake. He's fake. So we're going to go into the whole thing. So the way I met James was back in high school. Me and him actually knew each other, like knew of each other since like middle school, because we went to middle school together and high school together. But I never ran around like his group of people. I've never hung around him. I didn't really know him like that. We would just, I feel like we both just knew of each other. It wasn't anything more than that. So come high school, we actually were in a broadcasting class together. And even in that class, we weren't really close. Like, we were cool. Like, we would talk to each other, and obviously we would have group projects that we'd had to like be with each other. But it was never like besties or anything like that. It wasn't until after we graduated high school that we actually became friends. Like, went out to eat, went talking, like all that kind of stuff. And that's how our friendship actually came about. So this was during the time that my roommate story time comes around, where I decided to move out. Now, James knew that I wanted to move out and everything that was going on with me and stuff like that. And so we would talk about it all the time. And I was telling him, like, yeah, I plan on moving out. Like, I want to move out. I'm over it, da 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 da. And I had brought up moving in with Paris. Now, he didn't know Paris. Like, they did not know each other at all. They had absolutely no ties to each other, nothing. Please keep that in mind. They had no clue who each other was, okay? So he was telling me, like, I don't think that's a good idea. I don't recommend it. I don't think it's a good idea for y'all to be friends, blah, 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 blah. Or not to be friends, but y'all to move into a house together. Like, I don't recommend it. And I was just like, no, I think so. And, you know, against everybody's better judgment, I moved in with Paris. So at this time, you know, like I mentioned before in other, you know, things, I was outside. Like, I loved going out. When I had my apartment, like, there wasn't a weekend, there wasn't a weekday that I was not going out and partying out in the town, because that's what I would love to do. Like, you know, like, COVID really messed up my life. But yeah, I like going out on the weekends and stuff and having a good time. So it had gotten to the point where I would go out with Paris or I would go out with James. And so eventually I introduced them to each other, and we would all go out kind of as like a trio. It wasn't really like a trio. We weren't all friends. Like, the only reason like they knew each other was because of me. So like when we would go out, like it was just like a mutual thing just because they knew me. And so like during this time, I was like, we were having a lot of fun, but I would notice that like, and this might come across the type of way, but please stay with me, okay? So I would notice, right, that every time we would go out, he would buy Paris drinks, wouldn't buy me any. He would offer to pay for the Uber if Paris was there, but anytime me and him would be out by ourselves, he wouldn't pay. And like I said, I know this comes off across, like, I know this is gonna come across a type of way, but like, seriously, like, bear with me. Because I noticed that. I was just like, okay, whatever. Obviously, I'm gonna pay for myself. I don't care. But I was just picking up subtle little instances where we would go out to the clubs and stuff, and he would pay for Paris, like, he would pay for her food, but he wouldn't pay for me. And I'm just like, I was your friend. Like, you wouldn't even know this girl if it wasn't for me. So like, why are you... You know what I mean? So I would pick up on those little things here and there. And also he did that in a lot of other instances too, where like he wouldn't get me anything for my birthday. Mind you, I don't feel entitled for this, right? But he wouldn't get anything for my birthday, but then he would get some random person, like somebody who he's not even friends with, who they would honestly talk bad about him, but he would get them birthday gifts, or he would take other people out. Anytime we would go out, like, I would pay for my own stuff, he would pay for his stuff. But then he would tell me how he would take out another person, or like he would meet up with another person and he would pay for them. So I'm just like, you know what I mean? Once again, take that as you will, but I feel like if you get it, you get what I'm saying. Like, so we're supposed to be like real cool. At this point, like, we are really, really close friends. You don't ever pay for my stuff. You don't ever offer to help me out. You don't ever offer none of that, but you will go out of your way. And I'm talking about go completely out of his way to buy stuff for other people and pay for their stuff that he didn't even know like that, right? So it had gotten to like this time where me and him, like, we always had little tit for tats. Like, he was honestly like a friend of me. Like, when we were cool, but then he would like throw shots. Like, it would be like these slick shots at me, and so I would like fight back with him, and so me and him would go back and forth a lot. But that was kind of like our little toxic relationship. That was our like friendship. We would go back and forth with each other, but then we would get over it. So now I'm noticing that he is going out of his way to like talk to Paris. Mind you, they weren't friends, they weren't even cool like that. The only reason they knew each other was through me. So he found her on Instagram, or like they followed each other on Instagram, I don't really know. But then he would DM her and be like, oh, we should hang out today and blah, blah, blah. And Paris would be like, I thought you and James weren't cool right now. I thought you guys weren't like friends. And then I'm like, yeah, we're just kind of like taking a break from each other. You know how we are. And she would be like, oh, well, he just messaged me asking if I wanted to go to the movies. I feel like this whole story time is going to be like, if y'all get what I'm saying, you get what I'm saying. Obviously, like, yeah, you have every right to ask whoever you want to go out to the movies with. But, like, why are you asking my friend that you wouldn't know? Like, you know, like, y'all, And what I'm trying to reiterate, I feel like I'm all over the place already, but it's like, it would be one thing if I introduced y'all and you guys created your own friendship, right? That's your own thing. But it's the weird part for me is that y'all are not friends outside of me. If it's not for me, y'all would never be in the same room with each other, or y'all wouldn't make plans with each other. So why now you're going out of your way when you're on the outs with me? Why are you going out of your way to try to befriend my friend? I don't know if that makes sense, but like, I really hope it does, because that's a reoccurring problem in our friendship. So as we're going out, like, we got back cool or whatever, and now we're going back out again all the time. And now, like I mentioned in my roommate story time, me and him, we would get into these arguments, and he would do certain things that Paris didn't like. And one instance would be like, we would go out, and obviously we're out, so we're trying to talk to people, we're trying to, you know, have a good time. You know, when you go out, you really don't care about the people that you're out with. You would probably never speak to them ever, but like, y'all are out, y'all are at the same place, y'all are, you know, having the good time, having fun. So of course you're going to start talking to new people and talk to people that you never really would. So I would be in the middle of a conversation with a guy, and it would be like regular conversation. It wouldn't be anything crazy. The guy's not trying to like hit on me, where it's not on no creep status or anything. But he would just come in and grab me. He would pull me away from the conversation that I'm having with the person and be like, and I'd be like, yo, what's your problem? Like, don't do that. I was in the middle of talking to him. And then he'll be like, you know, you don't want anything to do with him anyway. Like, you wouldn't talk to him on your sober day. Like, you wouldn't even talk to him. And I'm just like, it doesn't matter. Like, it literally doesn't matter. If I want to talk to somebody, I want to talk to them. And there was an instance when we were walking somewhere. We were walking somewhere, and it was me and Paris. We were walking, and these guys were like, hey, you guys are really pretty. Can we take a picture of y'all? Like, with the guy. It was like these two guys wearing like, let's just say Bang t-shirts or something. They were just walking up to random people and asking if they wanted to take a picture so they could advertise what was on their t-shirt. Completely innocent, completely regular. And probably not on like a regular day would I be like, yeah, but I'm lit, I don't care. It's like 2 a.m, who cares? So they come up to us and they're like, hey, you guys are really pretty, can we take a picture with y'all? And so we're like, yeah, whatever. So it's literally Paris, me, this guy on the end, and the guy on the end. They're not touching us, they're not doing anything. They're just throwing up peace signs and just like taking a regular picture. He comes and grabs the both of us like out of the picture, and he was like, you guys know you guys don't want to take pictures. You do not want pictures of yourselves out there like that, da da da. And we would get so mad. I specifically would get so mad because I'm just like, you are not my man. You're not my father. You're not like, why are you constantly feeling the need to like interrupt things or just like impose yourself? And he would always say like he's trying to be a good friend, like he's just trying to look out for me. Yeah, looking out for me is making sure I don't go into like a Uber with some random guy. Me talking to a person while I'm out, or me taking a picture with my friend, with other people, like, why are you so annoying? Like, it would get on my last nerve. And me and him, we used to go at it. Like, we would go back and forth about it because it would really get on my last nerve. So after like a few of those instances, Paris was telling me like, hey, if you want to go out with him, like, that's on you, but like, don't invite me out if you're gonna go out with him, or don't, like, if we're going out, don't invite him. Okay, so it was just one of those things where he would just be like, oh, like, we should all go out, and Paris would be like, oh, I'm busy or whatever, and she was just making an excuse not to go out with him, which I understood, because even though it was like a tit for tat with me and him, even though we had like a little toxic understanding, it didn't really bother me to like not ever go out with him again, but it did bother her, so she didn't want to go out with him anymore. So those were the instances where he would just like do the most, and then Paris was like, yeah, I don't want to hang out with him anymore. Please remember that. If you watched my roommate storytime video where me and my friend had came into town and James was there, we all decided to go out that night. And this was like before I went in there and threatened to punch her and stuff. So like, just watch that video first. And so this was like the time that we were out. So my friend had came into town, and all three of us, we knew each other from high school. But this guy, we are going to call him Ronnie. So Ronnie and I and James, we all went to high school together. We all knew each other. Ronnie did not like James. Ronnie did not like hanging out with James. He always said, like, he just does too much. I don't like it, blah, 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 right? So I was just like, let's just hang out. Let's just have a good time. Like, they didn't have beef, but, like, Ronnie did not like James. But James liked Ronnie. So I'm just like, let's just have a good time. Like, we're gonna go out anyway. It doesn't really matter, you know, that kind of deal. So once again, like I mentioned, doing the most. So when we go out, he's buying Ronnie all these shots, all these drinks. He's doing the most. He's like making sure everything's cool with Ronnie. And he's basically like, once again, not doing anything for me. Like, well, whatever. Like, that part I got over, but it was just like another example. Like, okay, somebody who you're not even cool with, like, yeah, y'all know each other, but he doesn't even like you. So why are you doing the most for him and just being so much? But he was just going out of his way to buy Ronnie all this stuff. And then me and James ended up getting into an argument in the actual club because I had asked James to get me a specific drink, and James came back with something completely different. And I was just like, mind you, I paid for it. Like, that's what makes me so angry too. The whole fight was, I gave him my card to get me a drink. He brings me back something completely different. And I'm just like, bro, why did you get me this? Like, I didn't want this. And he was like, oh, who cares? Like, whatever. So I was mad because I'm like, you're going out of your way to do the most for this dude who doesn't even like you, who didn't even want you to come. I asked you to get me a drink with my card, and you bring me back something that's not even remotely close to what I asked for. I think he got me a shot of Hennessy. Like, I don't even drink that. And so I was just like, why did you do this? And he's like brushing me off. Like, he's just like, oh my God, who cares? Just drink it. Like, whatever. And I'm just like, no, like, I paid for it. I don't want this. So I'm basically like, no, you need to get me another drink. Like, and then he's like, well, give me your card. I'm like, I'm not paying for another drink. And then he's like, okay, so then don't worry about it. So like, we got into this tussle in the club. Like, we're in this whole tussle, right? About this drink that I didn't want. So we already have a little bit of animosity or whatever. And it's time for us to go home. So as we're walking, because I didn't live that far from Broadway. So as we're walking, we see Daddy's Dogs. And if you're from Nashville, you know Daddy's Dogs. Oh my God, Daddy's Dogs are the best hot dogs ever in life. Like, the Nashville one, oh my God, I would die for one of their hot dogs right now. So we're walking, and so, well, we weren't walking home. We were walking out because, you know, Broadway, like any downtown area, Ubers don't go all the way there or you're going to spend forever. So we were going to walk up a little bit away from all the chaos so we could get an Uber. So while we're walking, we see a Daddy's Dog stand, and me and Ronnie wanted to get a hot dog. So we're going to the hot dog stand, and we tell James, we're like, we're going to the hot dog stand. And so he decides to get an Uber by himself. Like, no one told you to get an Uber yet. So he decides to get an Uber, and he's getting like the notification that is like, oh, your Uber's 2 minutes away, be ready, whatever. So meanwhile, me and Ronnie are at the hot dog stand waiting for our hot dogs. Like, we already paid, we already ordered. We are literally just waiting for the hot dogs. And so I guess the Uber comes. And so James comes up to us while we're at this hot dog stand, yelling at us to get in the Uber. And once again, like, Ronnie isn't really like a confrontational person, but like, you're not going to do that with me. So especially like, I'm lit, you're lit, like, we can really cause a scene. And that's exactly what we did. So he's like yelling at me to get in the Uber. And I'm just like, no, I already told you, like, I'm getting this hot dog. And when I'm done, I'll get in. Like, nobody told you to call the Uber. So me and him are just like going back and forth again. They give us our hot dogs, and then we're starting to walk towards the Uber. And James is like, y'all need to run. Y'all need to run. I hope, like, I'm looking at myself right now in this camera, and I don't look like a dog. I hope y'all are looking at me, and y'all don't think I look like a dog. So, who are you doing this at? Because it's not me. Like, it's not me. So, me being petty, like, I was, like, you know, walking, you know, towards the Uber. And he's like, y'all need to hurry up. Y'all need to go. I stopped right there. I was like, no, don't snap at me. I'm not a dog. I'm not your child. You do not need to be snapping at me. So I just stopped where I was, and I'm like, no, you can go home. You can get your own Uber. That's your Uber. You can go to your Uber and you can go home. Like, whatever. I don't care. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be snapped at by somebody who called an Uber, rushing me to an Uber that I didn't even ask you to get. So, especially after we just had this tussle in the club and you're over here like, no. So, you know, tensions are rising. Me and him are not feeling each other. At this point, like, we're ready to fight each other because, like, I'm annoying him and he's annoying me. So it is what it is. So now we finally get into the Uber and Ronnie sits in the front seat. I'm in the back seat on, like, the right side and James is on the left side. And so I'm just telling him, I'm like, yo, let that be the first and last time you ever think to snap at me. Like, I'm just going off on him. Like, don't ever in your life snap at me like that. I'm not going to do that, blah, blah, blah. And this part, I'm just going to, like, leave, like, to your interpretation, whatever. He said something, like, he confessed something. And I was just like, what? Where did that even come from? Like, what in the world did that even, what? So we're on the Uber ride home and I'm like telling Ronnie, I'm like, did you hear what he just said? I can't be the only person that said, like, heard that. And I even asked the Uber driver, I'm like, I know I'm not the only person. I'm not crazy. Mind you, I'm turned, right? So I'm just like being extra in myself. So I'm just like, why would you even say something like that? Like, that's crazy. Like, what is wrong with you? Whatever. And so that was the ride on our way home the night that I threatened to punch, well, when I said I was going to fight Paris, but... So that was the ride beforehand. That's why it was so, like, crazy. I was already amped up before I even got into the apartment. So if you watch that story time, there's context for that. So when we get into the apartment, me and him had already had a bunch of, like, issues. So when he decided to go sit next to Paris, I already had 10 million other reasons why I was mad at him. And then him just sitting next to Paris, knowing that me and her are not friends anymore, I just went off on him because I'm just like, you're an op, like, you're crazy, like, you're a fake friend, blah, 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 blah. That's when everything got so, you know, I don't know how to say it in English, like, out, like, when everything just went crazy, right? So after that, me and him stopped being cool with each other because I was just so annoyed at everything that happened that night. And so now, after that night, me and Paris got back to being cool. That night actually brought us back to being cool with each other. So after that, I told her everything that happened between me and James that happened the night before and why I was already mad when I got back. And she was just like, you see, that's exactly why I'm talking about. That's why I don't like going out with him, because I feel like every time we're not, like, when he's done with something, when he's ready to go, he'll cause a scene and then, like, he ruins it for everybody else. And I was just like, yeah, I definitely see what you're talking about, because Ronnie, he was only there for the weekend, and he was even told, like, we all went out to lunch the next day, and he was like, yeah, that was not fun. I do not want to go out with him again. Like, if that's how he acts normally, like, if that's what he does normally, like, I do not want to be around him at all for that. And I'm just like, oh my God, like, with me and him, it was like, he would ruin everybody's night, and he would ruin everybody's time. But at the same time, like, I just gave him so many passes because, like, he was cool. Like, when me and him would go out by ourselves and stuff, like, he was cool. And he's fake, but he's a good person, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know how to explain it. But when me and him were, like, cool, everything was cool. It was just, like, he would just do weird, crazy stuff. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. And I didn't even mention, like, sometimes he would give the vibes that he liked me. Like, I don't know, it was weird. Anytime I would mention another guy, or I would do, like, I would be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go on a date, or I would just mention guys in general, he would give off very much like he liked me. But then I'm like, there's no way you like me. Like, there's no way you and I, like, no. And even sometimes I've even told Paris this, like, there would be sometimes where I felt like he was putting me in this uncomfortable situation where I would have to, like, jeopardize our friendship to let him know, like, hey, I don't like you like that, so please stop. Like, please don't make me feel uncomfortable, please. Like, and not uncomfortable in the sense that he was being creepy, but it was just, like, uncomfortable in the sense of, like, I only see you as a friend. Like, don't make me have to tell you. Like, I feel like we understand that. What's understood doesn't need to be explained, but, like, don't put me in a position where I have to explain to you that, like, we're only ever gonna be friends, you know? So like that was another thing. So mind you, me and him are not cool anymore, but he doesn't know that me and Paris are back cool. So in his mind, me and Paris are no longer cool. He doesn't know that me and her are back to being friends because me and him are no longer cool. So all of a sudden, he's asking Paris, like, he's like, oh, what are you doing tonight? Like, we should go out. We should do this. We should do that. Going places that I like to go, and like he knows that that's my spots and stuff, but he's inviting Paris to go them, or so he's inviting Paris to go to these places that are like my places. I know this sounds so childish, but like keep up, you know? So she would send me those messages and she'd be like, why is he asking to go out with me? Like, no, like, why would I want to go out with him? That's your friend. Like, and she would always talk. That's what I'm saying about the end of the roommate, the part 2, where I'm saying they would talk so bad about each other. She would be like, why would he think like I want to go out with him? I do not want to go out with him. Like, he's really like a lot and I just don't like that. He doesn't let me have a good time, blah, blah, blah. Basically like talking so trash about him, saying that he doesn't allow her to have a good time and that he ruins the night for her and blah, 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 blah. Remember this, okay? So now this is the time where I started being cool with Travis. If y'all know Travis from the love triangle from hell or from Satan, I don't remember what I named these stories, but if y'all remember Travis from those story times, I was basically like being really cool with him again. Me and him were hanging out a lot and we were chilling a lot. But mind you, like I said in that that other story time about him, he wanted to like pursue things with me and I just didn't. I didn't see him that way. I just kind of like, he was my friend. I was going through a lot during that time. Misery loves company, and he was the company that I was keeping, to be honest. So me and him are hanging out a lot. And he would just hit me up every day. He would just be like, oh, can I come over? And he would just come over. We would eat Wingstop and stuff. And we would just chill. It was not anything romantic at that time. Like, it was literally us just chilling, okay? So me and, I almost said his name. So me and James got cool. He apologized to me about everything. And we talked about it. And that was one of the things that I really liked talking to James, because we could talk so direct to each other. And I think that was like the vice and the virtue of our friendship, because I could just tell him straight up, like, look, you're being really annoying right now and I really don't like it. And he'll be like, okay, well, you're also doing this and I don't like it either. And we would just talk to each other extremely directly, just like that. So when we got back cool, I let him know. I'm like, look, I don't appreciate that you did this to me. When we're going out, don't try to do that to me, and stop trying to do this and like things like that. And he would reciprocate the same energy. He'd be like, okay, but the only reason I did that was this, and I felt like you overreacted because of this. So I appreciated that part of our friendship a lot. So we got back cool and we, hashed everything out. And so I was telling him about how, like, yeah, I would hang out with Travis a lot. He's never met Travis a day in his life. Wouldn't know Travis if it wasn't for me. Never went to school with him. Doesn't hang around the people. Like, I'm telling you, I cannot reiterate this enough. They would never cross paths if it was not for me. So I'm chilling with Travis one day and he was like, yo, what's up with your friend? And I'm like, who, Paris? And he was like, no, James. Is that his name? I remember him saying that specifically. He's like, James, right? That's his name. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he was like, why did he just DM me asking me if I wanted to hang out with him? And I'm just like, what? And so he shows me the DM and he was like, basically saying like, hey, I'm friends with Samantha. Like, I just wanted to know if like one day you want to like go out to lunch or we can catch a movie or something. And I'm just like, why? You know what I mean? Where it's like, yeah, there's nothing inherently wrong about reaching out to somebody to hang out with them. But it's just like, why is it that any person that I'm cool with, you go out your way, even though y'all have nothing in common, y'all have nothing to even do, like, why is it that you always reach out to people that I'm cool with? It was so weird to me. It, like, I can't tell y'all. Maybe it's just me. Am I weird? Or do y'all get what I'm trying to say? Because I'm like, why are you going out of your way to try to be cool with people that I'm cool with, even though you would never know them if it wasn't for me? So he was just like, yeah, that's weird. Travis said that. So one day me and James were out and I'm like, why are you hitting up Travis? Like, what do y'all have to talk about? And he was like, oh, nothing. He just seems cool. Like, you talk about him a lot. He just seems cool. So I just wanted, to see if he wanted to hang out. He played it off very like that. And that's the thing too, like James is very charismatic, very, whatever. So when he explained something and when he said something, he was like, oh yeah, he just seemed like cool. You hang out with him. So I thought like maybe we would get along. So I'm just like, okay, maybe, I mean, it's still kind of weird. Personally, to me, I think it's weird, but I guess if you put it like that, it's not that weird. I don't know, whatever. So boom. They never hung out. They never, like, Travis was like, no, I'm not hanging out with him. But James did know about me and Travis and like us being cool and us being friends. So like we all kind of knew each other because there was a time that James wanted to come over and Travis was there. And I was just like, yeah, I mean, you could come over, but like Travis is here too. If like that's cool, if you didn't want to chill by ourselves, like he's coming over. And so he was like, oh yeah, like I'll still come and chill. So we all chilled. Like it was just something really regular. We were all in my apartment. We were all just chilling, eating, having a cute little time, but it was nothing crazy. And I guess that was like the first time they actually met in person. Okay, so this is like me mixing the group, I guess. So weird. I'm so sorry if this is confusing. Me trying to like remember all this and put it in order and try not to like just jumble things in here is making this way more complicated. And it's hot, okay? It is hot up in here. I'm dying. Why do you think I got no clothes on, okay? This shirt is like all the way cut out to the back. I'm like, ugh. So now that we all know each other and we're all acquainted through me, right? I can talk about Travis to James and he'll know who I'm talking about. It's not like, oh, my friend Travis anymore. It's like, oh yeah, Travis, that kind of thing. We all know each other at this point. So there was a day that Travis asked me if I wanted to hang out with him. And I was like, yeah, I just got home. Like, let me just chill for a little bit and then we can link up later. So he was like, all right, cool. So then James calls me and he was like, hey, or he texted me. He was like, hey, do you want to hang out tonight? You can come over. We can watch a movie or whatever. Mind you, none of this is like romantic. Me and James were never in a romantic relationship. He was just my friend. It was just a friendly kind of thing. I just want to reiterate that as well. So he was like, oh, do you want to just come over and watch movies or something? And I was just like, oh, actually, I have plans to go out to dinner or like go hang out with Travis. But if it gets done early, because me and Travis's plans were like 5 or 6 in the evening. And so I was just like, if we're finished early enough, then yeah, I'll stop by. Like, I thought that was me being, a good person, because another thing was I'm a very honest person when it comes to linking up. I don't give people mixed signals. If I don't feel like going somewhere that day, I'll just be like, oh no, I can't. If I'm broke, if I ain't got no money to go out, I'm gonna let you know. Actually, I'll have to give you a rain check because I'm broke right now. I don't have any problems with that. So I genuinely felt like, okay, me and Travis had plans, but if we finish up early or whatever, and it's still early in the night, yeah, I'll come over. I have every intentions of doing that. I don't have a reason to lie to you. You know what I mean? So I told him exactly that. So that night, I had fallen asleep. I wanted to rest my eyes. That turned into like a 3-hour nap. And so I woke up to, obviously, it was like Travis blowing up my phone, like, hey, I thought we were supposed to chill. Like, what's going on? So I messaged him, or I called him, and I was like, hey, I'm so sorry. I fell asleep, but like, I'll link up with you. If you want to link up, I'll pull up on you. And he was like, yeah, okay, I'll do that. So like at this point, boom, right? Let me set the scene. I had just gotten off of work at 3. Okay, get to my apartment. Cool. I just wanted to take a cute little power nap, something really simple. And me and Travis were going to hang around at like 5 or 6. So let's just say 6. So me and him had plans at 6. I took a nap and I woke up at 7:30. And because, I told Travis, I was like, I would hang out with him first and our plans were before this. I was like, yeah, I'll still pull up on you. So I ended up telling James, I was like, hey, I fell asleep. I had plans with Travis first, so I'm going to have to take a rain check with you. I'm really sorry. Like, I didn't mean to fall asleep or whatever. And he was just like, okay. And it was very dry, and I knew that we were gonna have issues, but in my head, I felt like it was only fair because I had already had plans with Travis before you even asked me to hang out with you. And because I already had these plans and those plans were first, I felt like it was only right to hang out with Travis. And all you were asking to do was like watch movies and stuff. So yeah, it kind of sucks if you plan, because I even told you, like, that's the thing that like makes me mad, because I never confirmed the plans with you. I said if me and Travis don't like finish, if we finish early, then I'll hang out with you, but I never confirmed that I was going over to your place that night, you know what I mean? So I didn't understand why he would even be mad in the first place, like, you know? So when I had messaged him that, he was being really dry, and I was just like, oh, maybe we can go get dinner tomorrow, and he was like, oh no, I was only free tonight. And so it was very much like passive aggressive, very much like, oh no, I only have plans tonight. So I was just like, oh dang, like, okay, I'm sorry. Like, once again, extremely apologetic. I'm like, hey, I'm sorry. I'm really, really sorry. So then the next day, he's texting me, like, I guess I thought we were fine. Like, I knew he had like an attitude, but like, I didn't, you know, it was our friendship, so I didn't really pay too much attention to it. I was just like, okay, whatever, boy. Like, you're mad at me, you'll be fine. So the next day we're texting, and he texts me that he is at this Chinese restaurant that we used to like to go to. And so I was just like, oh dang, once again, I'm being like friendly about it. I was like, if you would have told me, I would have came, like, and we could have rescheduled like what we were supposed to do last night. I would have just came to see you today. So he was being very passive aggressive with me, being like, well, you know, the whole thing was that I wanted to hang out last night. I didn't want to hang out today. So yeah, that's why I didn't invite you. Like, very like that pretty much. And so I'm just like, okay, like, whatever. I'm still thinking it's a joke. I'm still laughing, I guess. And he responded, he was like, oh, it doesn't matter, you still like to leave me for your buddies anyway. And that's when it all came full circle to me, because like I said, he would always throw these shots at me. Like, it would be those like, what did you say, like that TikTok, like, it was always something like that where it was so unnecessary, and it's like half joking, half kidding, or half joking, half serious, where you're just like, that's how you feel. That's really how you feel about me, but you've been waiting to say it. So he would always make these slick shots about like me being like a hoe. I don't know, like. But then again, once again, it was those situations where I felt like, are you saying this because you like me or what? Because I feel like anybody else, I'm just doing regular stuff. Like, I'm really not out here being a hoe, but you keep making it seem like I am. And I'm trying to figure out, is it because you like me and you don't like the fact that I'm talking to guys? Or is it, like, what's your problem with me? But we would always get over it, so I never felt the need to bring it up. So when he was like, oh, you always leave me for your buddies anyway, I didn't like the way that sounded. I did not like the way that came out. I didn't receive that nicely, and I was very personally offended that he would even say that, because first of all, I'm always, out of all the friends that you like have went through, to be honest, because it's not the first person, I'm not the first person he's gotten in these same arguments with, but like, I'm a really good friend to you. I always go out of my way to be cool with you and like be a good friend to you. When everybody else talks bad about you, when everybody else is just using you, like, I still hang out with you, even though you don't pay for my food, but you'll pay for some random person that you just met. Even though you do this weird stuff when we go out and you're just really annoying and you do all this extra stuff and cause a scene, I'm still friends with you. Like, I'm still a good friend to you. And that's really how you're going to talk to me, because this one time I couldn't hang out with you. Like, and it was not confirmed plans, and on top of that, like, it's really like not that I let you know. It'd be one thing if I just blew you off, and then you found out that I was hanging out with Travis, but I was very honest and upfront with you. Like, I fell asleep. And another thing that he said in the message would made it seem like I just lied about being asleep. Like, why do I have to lie to you? You are not my dad. I don't have to lie to you. You know what I mean? So after he said that, I felt a very big type of way. I was just like, no, I'm not going to talk to you. So that was the end for me. That was enough for me to know, like, that's really how you feel about me, so keep it. So he did try to apologize. He was like, oh, I'm sorry. But like his apologies, he did try to apologize, but his apologies were very disingenuous. Like he would be like, you know how I get, like sometimes I just run out the mouth. No. It wasn't like you said my outfit was ugly. It wasn't like you said like, oh, why do you do your hair like that? No. You made like a very personal attack on me. And that I'm not just gonna get over that because you want to be like, oh, that's just how I am. Like, Samantha, stop. That's how he was trying to be. Like, he was like, Samantha, stop. Like, you know, that's how I am. And no, you can be like that with somebody else, but you're not gonna be like that with me. So I already had it in my head that me and him will no longer be friends because, to be honest, I was tired of the back and forth. Sometimes we're friends, sometimes we're not. When we're friends, you know, we're cool, we hang out, blah, blah, blah. But then you do this weird stuff with my friends. And then when we're not cool, you do all this extra stuff like, no. And then you pick and choose when you like me as a person, because like sometimes he'll be like, oh my god, like the reason why like people aren't like good friends to you is because you're intimidating, but you know that's a good thing, that's something that you should like about yourself, you don't need nobody, blah blah blah. But then in the same breath, when we get mad, when you get mad at me, you say all this stuff like, I'm telling y'all, there's so many like different situations that are like not really relevant to the story. That's why I'm not bringing them up. But it's just like, you will always do that. And it was just so annoying to me. So I stopped being friends with him. So now these are going to be like the side stories that kind of just pulled this whole thing together. So he had known Armando. He knew Armando way before me, okay? And he had his own issue with Armando. They knew each other outside of me, and they had their own problem. Well, it was completely one-sided because when I was dating Armando, Armando did not like him. Armando made it very clear that he found him annoying. He didn't like him, blah, blah, blah. He's this, he's that. He's talking so crazy about James, but we'll get to that. So when him and Armando had their outs, it was completely separated from me. So at the time when I had broken up with Armando, like at this point, like I had nothing to do with Armando. I didn't want anything to do with Armando. I was just, me and James would talk about all the craziness that Armando was doing. And James would be like, yeah, he's such a loser. I'm so happy. You don't even understand how happy I am when y'all broke up because you need something better. You need this, you need that because Armando's a loser. He's not going anywhere in life, blah, 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 blah. Talking so crazy about Armando, but I thought it was because, you know, they're not cool anymore. Like it had nothing to do with me. He's not blowing smoke up my ass, you know what I mean? He's talking about Armando off of his own personal experiences, and unfortunately his personal experiences with Armando and my personal experiences with Armando just happened to align. So, you know, we talked about it with a side of chilies. Okay, that's what we would do. So I just found it funny that you're over here talking all this craziness about Armando and all this other stuff, and you're supposed to be my friend. Remember, we were supposed to be best friends and this, that, and the third. And all of a sudden, we're not friends anymore. And guess who's on South Beach with Armando? And let me tell you something. I forgot that I had James on Facebook. I completely forgot that I had him on Facebook. I unfollowed him. I didn't block him. I just unfollowed him from everything. But I had forgotten that we were still friends on Facebook. So why do I see him posting a photo? Like it was them posing. He posted a photo with Armando talking about, oh, good times, blah, 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 in Miami. Knowing that I moved to Miami. But, like, I'm not going to say me moving to Miami. Like, obviously, I know that they did not, like, plan that because I moved here. It wasn't like, oh, she lives there, so let's go. But it was just, like, that's really funny. That's funny. Because I thought he was all this. He's a loser. He's this, that, and the third. And you know all the things that, like, if anybody knows all the things that Armando has done, it was James. So why you felt the need to go there and post him like that, like it was just so calculated to me. I was just like, bro, you were never my friend. We were never friends, dude. Because like why are you doing that? So he had posted that, and that's when I blocked him for real. Like I blocked him off of Facebook and whatever. Actually, no, I did not block him because we'll get to that. So I took him off as a friend on Facebook, but I did not block him yet. That's when, fast forward, I had posted the first post I ever did with my boyfriend. And that was when the roommate story time, that ending comes into play. I had posted my first post with my boyfriend, and a couple days later, he's gonna be like, oh, now I see what everybody's talking about. I wanted to see what everybody was talking about. What? You wanted to see what everybody was talking about? First of all, why is anybody talking about me and my new boyfriend at the time? But like, why is anybody talking about my boyfriend? Why do I take up that much space in people's mind that people are really talking about, like, oh, this is her new boyfriend? Like, I'm really not nobody. So like, why do you care who I'm dating? You know what I mean? But anyway, he was like, oh, I wanted to see what everybody was talking about. So I just deleted the comment and I ignored it, whatever. So then fast forward to when he had tagged me in a post with him in Paris talking about, oh, I'm so glad that we met through some, or it was something, honestly, I forgot, but I'm going to insert the screenshots of what it said. And that's when I blocked the both of them, because I'm just like, bro, you are so fake. Like, if I have ever met a fake person, it is him, because I think it is so funny, dude. He would talk so crazy about this one girl, talk crazy about her baby daddy, her daughter. Like, he would talk bad about this girl's daughter, right? Now, all of a sudden, I don't follow him. He's blocked all my stuff, but I see her on her, like, Instagrams and stuff, and she'll be like, oh, my best friend's in town. I'm like, bro, you would not be calling that man your best friend if you knew the things that he would tell me about you, girl. Yeah. And I'm just like, this is wild. Like, this is so crazy that people really are fake. Like, so freaking fake like that. And that was the thing too, the Facebook post with Armando. It was like, you wanted me to see that. Like, you went out of your way to want me to see that, because it wasn't like a Snapchat where like Armando was in the background and I was just like, oh, he's there. Like, no, you wanted to publicize that you were in Miami with Armando. And turns out, by the way, this is just tea. This is just tea out of nowhere, right? Okay, because y'all know I hate Armando, so I don't care. So that was when Armando had just had his child. Like, his child was fresh out the womb. He was in Miami, okay? And come to find out, it was because James offered to pay for it. So you are going to go to Miami with a group of a bunch of guys that you're not even cool with, just because one of them offered to pay for the trip, and you just had a child. You just had a child. And you are in Miami with a group of guys. You could have went with anybody. You could have had a great time with people that were actually your friends, or, you know, even brought your child with you. I don't know, but that's neither here nor there. But like, right. Okay. Super. Like, what? And then it's just like, James, like, you talked all that craziness about Armando, and you're really gonna go and pay for and like, I believe it. That was told to me. Somebody told me that like knows James and knows Armando. Like, that was said to me, but it's just like, I believe it. I 100% believe that he would pay for them to go to Miami. Like, and that's what I'm saying. The reason why people would like be cool with James is because they would use him. They would use him because he's so quick to just do anything for anybody except for his real friends, because he ain't never asked to pay for my dinner. He ain't never asked for none of that, but you're gonna pay for somebody to go to Miami? What? And then it's just like, is it just so you could have shown me that, like, oh, you took Armando to Miami? Like, what? This is weird. This is all weird. It's so crazy to me. Like, what is life? Like, why would you do something like that? You know? And then like the whole thing with Paris, that was just like, what are you trying to prove here? Like, I'm not friends with Paris and I'm not friends with you. Y'all are both fake and y'all can both have each other. Like, that did not do anything to me. That did not give me like a wow moment. Like, I expected that one. The Miami thing, that was a whole other issue, because it's just like, wow. So you're ready to reconcile your differences with Armando just to post a picture to show me that, what? And then I'm like, maybe I'm not like on these people's minds. Like, I'm not. But then when he was like, oh, I wanted to see what everybody was talking about, I'm like, yeah, I occupy a large space in your mind, because what? So yeah, after that long-winded story, that is the James story time. Because I get so many comments like, if you're falling out with all these people, that it's you. Let me know if this was me. Let me know, because I think this is my problem though, right? I have never been a large group of a group of friends person. I've always just had like very few close friends, but I just think I choose my friends very wrong. Like, I think that's my problem. I don't think I'm per se the problem. I don't think I'm the problem. But like in these situations where it's like, I feel like I'm the problem because I choose really bad friends and I look over a lot of things, or I don't set boundaries. I think that's my problem too. Like, I feel like I don't set boundaries enough because I'm just such a get over it type of person. Like, a lot of me and James's friendship should have ended a long time ago before all of this even happened. But I'm just like, oh, we'll get over it type of person. So I feel like that's why so many, like, I allow people to do so many bad things to me because I choose the wrong people and I just let it go on way longer than it should. So I am self-aware enough to know that, okay? For all the mean people out there. But anyway, yeah, choose your friends wisely, and the first sign that they're being weird, cut them off so you don't end up like me. Yeah. With all your ex-friends taking pictures with each other and thanking you for introducing them. Yeah. Anywho, I hope you guys enjoyed this story time. I'm so sorry for my absence. I hope this long video was enough to make up for it, but I will be doing some new stuff soon, so be sure to check that out. I will be uploading another exclusive story time on my membership, so be sure to check that out if you haven't already. And yeah, I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.